So by the help of routing, by the help of router, we can connect from one LAN to other LAN to establish communication. So we have two LANs here. One is LAN 1, that is in Amirpet, and we are using the IP address here 10.0.0.2 there. And we have some data in 10.2 machine. By sitting on 10.5 machine, by sitting on 10.6 machine, can we access that 10.2 machine? Share folders can access 10.2 machine data or not? Yes, within the LAN we can access. Like this, we have one more branch, one more LAN in other area, Dilsunnagar. So in this branch, this is our DC. By the help of Active Directory service, by the help of DNS service. And as of it, in this network, we have nearly 50 machines here. And all these machines are connected by the help of switch. But to connect these machines in every computer, we require IP address or not here. So this site on the Dilsunnagar branch, I'm using the class A 12 network IP. That is, I'm giving here 12.0.0.2. And the preferred DNS address is same because this machine is my DNS server, that is 12.2. And we require a switch to connect these machines. We have nearly number of computers here, clients. And this machine has a client for this network. And the client IP address is, this one is 12.3. Example, this machine IP is 12.4. And we need preferred DNS address. Preferred DNS address is your DNS server IP, that is 12.2 machine. Now in this 12.2 machine in DC, we have one share folder by the name of data. So by sitting on this 12.3 machine, by sitting on 12.4 machine, can we access the data share folder? Yes, we can access this one. But assume it right now, we are sitting on 10. network. The 10. people can access 12. network resources. The 12. people can access 10. network resources. No, we cannot access because here there is no connectivity, there is no connection here. So we require connection and we require communication between these two networks. Right, then we can allow the user to access the data from one LAN to other LAN. Then 10. people can access 12. network resources and 12. people can access 10. network resources. So assume you are the admin of this network and one day your boss is coming, is requesting to you, sir, please connect these two LANs. Please connect these two LANs, allow the user to transfer the data, allow the user to access the data there. So you want to connect from the LAN 1 and that is 10. network, and you want to connect the LAN 2, that is 12. network here, right? So if you want to connect this network, we require a router. We require router. But the question is what? How many routers we require here? We need router, but how many routers we require here? We have two LANs. One is in Amirpet, one is in Dilsunnagar. So if you want to connect these two LANs, how many routers we require? We require one router is enough. Okay. So I will go for one router, but tell me one router, where we have to keep this one router? In Amirpet branch or in Dilsunnagar branch? Where we have, if I'm taking one router, so where I have to place this one router? In Amirpet or Dilsunnagar? Or if you confuse, place this one router in middle of these two branches, like in Abbott's. Then you can establish the connectivity and communication. Yes? No, it's not possible. See here, the experts are suggesting to you, sir, how many LANs we have? For each LAN, we require one router there. We have how many LANs here now? Two LANs. So for each LAN, we require one router. And the router logical symbol is like this. This is your router logical symbol. We require one router for Amirpet branch. We require one router for Dilsunnagar branch, right? But to connect this router to network, on this router, we require interfaces. We require interfaces. So what is interfaces here? When you're using the word machines, and if you want to connect from one machine to other machine, in every machine we require NAC card or not here? Yes, here the word we are using interface. Interface is called NAC card. Your NAC card is called interface. But when the word is coming network devices, we have to use the word interface here. So we require one interface, we require one NAC card to connect this router to our local network, to our network switch here, right? And this interface technically is called Ethernet interface. It's called what here? Ethernet, because connected local network. So not only on this interface, to connect the router to my network, on this router interface, we require one IP for communication or not here? So which IP we require? We require private IP or we require public IP? We require private IP. That answer is correct, because it's not connecting router to other router to other network. We are connecting router to our network. So if you want to communicate with our network, we require same network portion IP or not here? So that is what private IP. So I'm giving the IP address to this interface is 10.0.0.1. Now on this router also we require one interface and it's connected to local network, and on this interface we are using IP address 12.0.1 here, right? But this router should be connected to my local this router 1. Example, I'm saying this is router 1 and this is router 2, right? So the router 1 has to connect to router 2, means 10. network has to connect to 12. network here. So on this interface, on this router, we require one more interface, and here also we require one more interface. And this interface is called serial interface here, because we are connecting from one network to other network, one router to other routers. But to connect these two routers, right? If you want to connect these two routers, we require public internet line with public IP from ISP. So tell to the ISP, sir, I want to connect these two LANs. We require lease internet line with public IP and good bandwidth we require. And really, in our home also we are using internet line, but without public IP. Without public IP. So we are not paying that much amount. We are paying only 500 rupees or 300 rupees only for browsing purpose. But the corporate people, the companies require dedicated internet line with broadband connection, with full speed, with public IP. And these internet lines are expensive here. Per public IP, per internet line, maybe per month, we have to pay nearly 10 to 20,000 rupees for you, right? So the connectivity is good, right? Speed is very good here, right? Full speed you will get, and with public IP. And public IPs are unique in the world. You can access from anywhere there, okay? So we require one public IP with internet line. So connect from this LAN to that router 1 to router 2 by the help of WAN, right? And tell to the ISP, give one public IP to this interface, give the public IP to this interface. So assume to this interface, the public IP ISP is giving 11.0.0.1, and to this interface example, ISP is giving 11.0.0.2 here. Okay, so now the router 1 is connected to the router 2. So it means 10 dot network is connected to the 12 dot network. So now tell me, the 10 dot people can access 12 dot network resources? Yes, right? Now the 12 dot people can access 10 dot network resources? Yes. So we connected these two LANs by the help of router. So router is a device, right? Is a network device. By the help of that, we can connect from one LAN to other LAN. So example, one of the user, like 10.5 user, by sitting on this client, the user is requesting to access data share folder which is present in 12.2 machine. So the user is going to the run, and the user is requesting, sir, double backslash 12.0.0.2 slash data. So now tell me, once I press enter via switch, the first request will go to router 1 via this interface. Which interface? 10.1. Then request will go to 11.1 interface via public IP. The request will go to router 2, and router 2 will allow the user to access the data, right? So like this, the 12 dot people also can access 10 dot network resources here, okay? So we need a router to connect from one LAN to other LAN. But how the routers are working? The routers are working by the help of routing protocol. Routers are working by the help of routing. By the help of routing protocol, the router is deciding which path is the best to reach to the destination. So right now, how many paths we have to reach to the destination? 10 dot people want to access 12 dot network. So how many paths we have now? Only one path. But assume it in future, if this internet line is down, is not working, then the 10 dot people can access 12 dot network resources? No. So that's why the companies are not using one internet line. The companies are using multiple internet line to connect from one LAN to other LAN. So my company also require one more internet line. We are purchasing one more interface, one more internet line from ISP, and ISP is giving one more internet line here to connect this network, right? And this site, public IP address, ISP is giving 14.0.0.1, and this site the ISP is giving 14.0.0.2 here, right? So we have two WANs here to connect these two LANs here. One is 11 dot network, one is a 14 dot. So now my next day, my user 10.5 user is requesting to access the data share folder which is present 12.2 machine. The user is going to run is typing double backslash 12.0.2 slash data. Now tell me, once I press enter, the first request will go to your router via this interface. Okay. Now the router is having two interfaces to exit the network to access the resources. One is 11.1, one is a 14.1. So the router will decide, right, by using routing protocol, which path is the best to reach to the destination, which is the short and best path. So the router is saying the short and best path is 11 dot, right? So via 11 dot, the data will transfer from 10 dot network to 12 dot, and 12 dot network to 10 dot. But next day, this 11 dot network interface is not working. This line is dropped, right? So then what is the best path here? 14 dot. Via 14 dot, the 10 dot people can access 12 dot network resources. Yes. And 12 dot people also can access 10 dot. So now this path is the best here. So by using routing protocol, the router is deciding which path is the best to reach to the destination. So two things we require. First, we require router with internet line. Then we require routing protocol. Now third thing we require in every client machine. Without this address, the client cannot communicate with other network computers here. So on each and every client machine, we require this address. That address is called default gateway address. Default gateway. Till now we know what is IP address, what is subnet marks, what is preferred DNS, what is a alternate. But after IP, after subnet marks, we have one more address that is called default gateway address. So on each and every client machine, we require this address, and today we require this address. Now first tell me, what is the use of gate? Example, I'm saying this is MCSC class gate. So if you have knowledge about this gate, if you have information of this gate, then only you can come inside, then only you can go outside. So this gate is providing exit and entry point to you. The same thing, the clients require information default gateway address. By the help of default gateway address, the client is having good information how to exit your network, to access the other network resources, and how to receive the data from outside to inside, from other network to our network. If any client is not having this address, that client can communicate within the LAN, transfer the data also. But this computer, this client cannot communicate with other network computers here. So if you want to establish a connectivity and communication with other network, and your client has to access other network resources on our client machine, we require this address. That is a default gateway address. So on each and every client machine, we require default gateway address. But which interface IP or which IP will become default gateway address for our clients? The experts are saying your router, our local router. The router 1 is our local router. So router 1 interface IP, right, will become default gateway for clients. But right now you can see on my router 1, I have 3 interfaces. One is 10.1, one is 11.1, and one is a 14.1. So now tell me which interface IP will become default gateway for my clients here. 10.0.0.1. Yeah, answer is correct. But why 10.1? Why not 11.1? Why not 14.1? Because whenever the user is requesting to the accessing other network resource, the first request via switch will go to the our local interface, right? Then router will decide which path is the best to reach to the destination, maybe 11 dot, maybe a 14 dot here. So it means whenever the request is coming from outside to inside via 11 dot, via 14.1, whenever the request want to come inside in our network, so it will use what here? 10 dot. So our router private interface IP, our router private interface IP will become default gateway for clients, not public IP. Remember here, our router which is connected to our network via private interface, that interface IP will become default gateway for my clients. So here, the default gateway of my client is 10.0.0.1, right? Now, out of 100 machines, I'm giving the default gateway only to one machine, system 5. So now the system 5, 10.5 machine is having good knowledge how to exit your network, to access the other network resources, and how to receive the data from outside to inside. Now 10.6 machine cannot access other network resources. So on 10.6 machine also, we require default gateway address, that is 10.1. And on our DC also, we require default gateway address here. So remember here, in all machines in our network, we require one default gateway address. If you have a default gateway address, then only we can allow the user to access the other network resources here. So on our DC also, we require default gateway address, and the default gateway address is 10.0.0.1 here. We need preferred DNS. The preferred DNS address is same, that is 10.0.0.2 here. Okay. So for this network people, default gateway is 10.1. Now tell me for 12 network, right? So what is the default gateway address? 11.2, 14.2, or 12.1? 12.1 is a default gateway for this client. So for all these clients, the default gateway address is 12.1 here. So for our DC also, we require default gateway address, that is 12.0.0.1. So for all these 50 machines, default gateway address is 12.1 here, right? So that's why the experts are saying, sir, if you want to connect from one LAN to other LAN, we require 3 things. First, we require router. Second, we require routing protocol. Third, we require default gateway address. So that's why the microservice is saying here, what is router? It is a device used to communicate between two different networks, right? What is routing protocol? It's a process of sending data packet through the best path to reach to the destination. Default gateway is give exit and entry point to reach to the destination, right? So please copy this one. Excuse me. It's finished. Okay. So we need a router to connect from one LAN to other LAN to establish communication. Now next is what? If anyone is asking to you, sir, please tell me types of routers, sir. How many types of routers we have? There are two types. What are there? Software and hardware. Okay. Any other? Please give me the answer. I'm asking to all. Types of routers, sir. Static and dynamic. Static means you are creating manually. Dynamic means if you close the eyes, automatically the router is available in front of you. That is called automatic. See here. We have two types of routers, right, in the market here. One is called a software router and one is called hardware router. So what is hardware router? Hardware router, there are so many companies are manufacturing. Like in the market, leading companies what? Cisco, Juniper is there, D-Link is there, right? There are so many companies out there who is making the hardware router, right? And hardware router physical structure is a look like a DVD player. If you sit in MCSC lab, you can see the CCNA lab is there. You can find big rack is there, right? There are nearly 20-25 routers are there, right? And that routers look like a DVD player there, okay? But hardware router logical symbol is like this. This is a logical symbol of your hardware router here, right? But hardware router especially designed for only routing purpose. It's designed for routing. So hardware router job is what? Only for routing is designed here. But in hardware router, we have two types of routers here. One is called fixed router and one is called modular. Fixed means only one private interface is there and two public interface. One private and two public, right? So it means we can connect to our private network and two public networks we can connect, two other network we can connect. But in modular router, we have to request how many private interfaces we want and how many public interfaces we require there, okay? So this hardware router is expensive also here. If you want basic, if you want basic configuration, if you want basic hardware router from Cisco, nearly we have to pay 80,000 rupees to 1 lakh rupee. We have to pay, then we'll get the Cisco router there, basic router, right? If you're going for modular router, advanced router, according to your request on your requirement, the price will be increased there. So hardware router especially is designed for routing purpose. We cannot do multitasking also there. Multitasking is what? On hardware router, we cannot install DNS service, we cannot install IS service, we cannot install WDS service, we cannot install like web service, we cannot install. Only is designed for routing purpose, okay? In an expensive device also. And to use this router, we can connect from one LAN to other LAN. The same way we have software router. What is software router? You can make one PC as a router, that is called software router here, by using our operating system. So example, I'm taking one computer, right? I want to make this PC as a router. So in this machine, we require server operating system. We can install server OS. And by using this server OS, I can make this PC as a router, right? So this machine is acting as a router, okay? But at the same time, we can do multitasking. In this machine, we can install DNS service, we can install WDS service, we can install web service. Not tell me, I'm running multiple services in single machine or not here? Yes. So here on software router, we can do multitasking, but software router is a less expensive device for you. Because if you want good configuration machine, one PC, we have to pay nearly 30 to 40,000 rupees. Will get the new router or not here? A new machine will get, right? So we can make this PC as a router here. So we have two types of router in the market. One is called software, one is a hardware, right? Hardware router especially is designed only for routing purpose, but software router we can do multitasking here. But what is the use of software router and hardware router? To connect from one LAN to other LAN to establish communication, right? But how the routers are working? The routers are working by using routing protocols, right? So we have to check how many types of routing protocols we have. So here we have two types of routing protocol. One is called static and one more is called dynamic. So what is static, what is dynamic? Static means manual, dynamic means automatic. Like example, I'm going to my router 1, I'm saying I'm going for a static routing here, and when I'm going for a static routing, I have to decide, I have to tell to my router which path is the best to reach to the destination, maybe 11.1 or 14.1. Manually, as admin, I'm saying 11.1 is best. So always your data will travel or transfer by using 11.1. But in future, if the 11.1 is down, is not working, then your data will not transfer. Again, we have to log in as an administrator in router. Then we have to tell 14 dot is a best path to reach to the destination. But if I'm going for the second option, that is called dynamic routing here, dynamic routing protocol. So my router itself will decide which path is the best to reach to the destination, 11.1 or 14.1. So in future 11.1 is not working, then automatically your data will transfer via 14.1. So as admin, we no need to go to the router, we no need to give any manual entry there. So we have two types of routing protocol, one is called static and one is a dynamic. We have two types of routers, one is a software and one is a hardware here, right? So please write down this one. Types of routers first. In types of router, we have software router and we have a hardware. And in types of routing protocols, the first one is static and the next one is what? Dynamic here. So we have two types of routing protocol, static routing protocol and dynamic routing protocol. Yes, in software router we can use dynamic routing protocol also and we can use static also. It's done, finished. Now see here, we have two types of routers, one is a hardware, one is a software. So what is the use of hardware router? What is the use of software router? By using this hardware and software router, we can connect from one LAN to other LAN to establish the communication to transfer the data. So we are learning MCSC course. In MCSC course, we'll learn by using server operating system 2012 how to make one PC as a router and what are the requirements here. But when you're going for CCNA class, CCNA, CCNP, you're learning how to configure hardware router, and on hardware router how to configure a static routing protocol, how to configure dynamic. But we are learning MCSC course by using Microsoft operating system 2012. We'll see how to make one PC as a router, that is software, and to run this router we are going to see how to configure static routing table, right? How to create the static route table to establish the communication connectivity between from the one LAN to other LAN there. Okay, so we are making one PC as a router, but how to make one PC as a router here? So Microsoft is saying whenever you want to make DNS server, install the DNS service. When you want to make web server, install the web service. If you want to make WDS server, install the WDS service. If you want to make router, so you have to install this service. By using this service, we can make one PC as a router. That service is called what here? RRAS. And here, RRAS stands here, routing and remote access service. Routing and remote access service. So by using this routing and remote access service, I can make one PC as a router. So whenever we are saying RRAS, that is called routing and remote access service. Right? Now what is routing on remote access service? Routing and remote access service is a service performing routing as one of its multiple process. So example, I have two LANs here. One is LAN 1 and one is a LAN 2. LAN 1 is 10 dot network. LAN 2 is 12 dot network. So if you want to connect these two LANs, we require routers or not here? But first tell me how many routers we require. One router or two router? Two routers. So it means we require how many PCs here? Two PCs. Right? So one for LAN 1, one for LAN 2. So I'm saying this is a router 1 and this is a router 2 I'm saying. But on this router we require NAC cards or not here? On each router we require two NAC cards. One is connected to the local network, one is connected to the public. So one I'm connecting for local network first, then we are connecting from WAN by using public interface, and we require public IPs also. Okay, so to make router we require what here? Routing and remote access service. Just please write down this point. Don't draw this diagram. We'll take our own diagram for this practical. Please copy this slide. It's done, finished. Don't draw the diagram. We'll take our own diagram for our practical. Okay, is over. Now we are going for routing here, right? So for this practical in the lab and in the class, so our setup should be like this here. So we require two networks. So for today's session, for today practical, we require at least 4 machines here. How many machines here? 4 machines. So please draw this diagram. By the help of this diagram, we'll do the practical. Write down the heading lab setup. So this is our diagram. By the help of this diagram, we'll do the practical. System 1 and system 2 is in 10 dot network, and system 3 and system 4 is in 12 dot network. System 2 is a router 1 for 10 dot network, and system 3 is a router 2 for 12 dot network. So on system 2 and system 3, we require two NAC cards. One is connected to local network, and one is connected to the internet. With the internet, with the public IP, is connected to the router 2 there. And please write down the IP address neatly there. And the 11.1 is a public IP of router 1, and the 11.2 is a public IP of router 2. On this interface, there is no requirement of default gateway, and on this interface, we not require any preferred DNS address there, because these are the public IPs, are unique in the world, you can access from anywhere. So when you go to the lab, you have 4 systems, 4 systems setup is there. You have to join with your friends, and you have to do the practical there. Is over. Please write down one point there. Check all this computer IP address. Check all this computer IP address. So when you go to the lab, first on these machines, and check all this computer IP address. IP address should be like this. Okay. Check all this computer IP address. Next point, write down. Assign the default gateway. Assign the default gateway IP address to. Assign the default gateway IP address to client computers. Assign the default gateway IP address to client computers. Assign the default gateway IP address to client computers. Now tell me, how out of these 4 machines, how many machines are called clients here? 2 machines. Which machine? Which machine? For router 1, system 1 is a client. For router 2, system 4 is a client. So we not require default gateway address on routers. Remember here, we require default gateway address on client machine. So the router private IP will become default gateway for my client. So for 10.2 machine, what is the default gateway address? 10.0.0.1, not public IP, there is a private IP. Okay. Now for system 4, what is the default gateway address? That is 12.0.0.1. So please write down in your diagram also this one. Only default gateway we require clients, not to the routers. Fine. So right now I have 4 computers here. First we'll check all these computers addresses one by one. Then we'll assign the default gateway address. Then we'll configure the routing service to make this machine as a routers here. Okay. So right now you can see in the down here, I have 4 computers here. The system 1 is mine. I'm giving the names private and public. You can give any name, right? So system 1 is my DC. I require one interface, IP is 10.2. On system 2, I'm making router 1 for this network. I require 2 interface, 10.1 and 11.1. And system 3 is my router 2. I have IP 11.2 and 12.1. And system 4 is a DC client for this router 2, right? And we require only one interface because connected to switch, that is 12.0.2 there. But we'll go inside, we'll check the IP. I'm going to my first machine, right? If I right click on computer icon, if I go to the properties, you can see this is my first computer. I have to on 12 OS and this machine is system 1. Domain name is what here? Zoom.com. But in this machine, how many NAC cards we require? Only one NAC card we require. So if I go to change adapter settings, I have only one NAC card. Until yesterday, this NAC card name is Ethernet. But I right click, I went to the rename, I changed the name to 10.02. So easily in the labs, you can understand, okay, what is the IP of this NAC card here? So right click on this NAC card, go to the properties, and you can see the IP address of this NAC card is 10.0.2. Preferred DNS address is same 10.2. But we require default gateway address. What is the default gateway address? Our router private IP, that is 10.1, will become default gateway for this client. So click OK, close this one. Now go to the next computer. I'm going to my system 2, and system 2 is a router 1, right? We have 2 interfaces, one is 10.1 and one is a 11.1. But this machine should be a part of our domain. If I right click on computer icon, if I go to properties here, you can see this machine having 2012 OS server OS, and this machine is system 2, is working under domain of zoom.com. Okay. But in this machine, how many NAC cards we require? 2 NAC cards. And check the NAC card IPs. So the first NAC card is 10.1, which is connected to my local switch. Right click on this NAC card, go to the properties, select IPv4, click on properties. IP is 10.0.1. There is no requirement of default gateway address because this is a router. Okay. We require preferred DNS address, that is our DC IP, that is 10.0.2 there. Okay. Now go to this next NAC card. This NAC card is connected to ISP, right, to other router. We require public IP, and assume it ISP has given IP addresses 11.0.1 there. If I right click on this NAC card, if I go to properties here, select IPv4, click on properties, and the IP is 11.0.1. But remember here, public IPs are unique in the world. There is no requirement of default gateway address, no requirement of preferred, no requirement of alternate. But in case if ISP is giving to you prefer an alternate and default gateway, then you can assign it. Now go to the next computer, third machine, that is router 2, which is connecting 12 dot network here. So this is a router 2, and router 2 is require how many AC cards? 2. One is 11.2, which is connected to the ISP network with router 1, and the 12.1 is connected to our local network here. And go to the last machine, system 4, right? In system 4 is connected to the 12 dot network with the switch. So we require only one NAC card, and we have one NAC card, and check this interface IP. So that is 12.0.2, and preferred DNS address is same, because this machine assume it is a DC for this network here. Okay, and here the default gateway address is 12.0.0.1. The router 2 private interface IP will become default gateway for this 12 dot network client here. Okay, so click OK, close it. Now before starting the routing here, I will do one thing. I will ping from 10 dot network to 12 dot network. Now tell me, I will get any reply? No. Check it out. Example, from this 10.2 network computer, if I go to the command prompt, if I ping to my local network, to my 10.0.0.1, I will get the reply or not here? Yes, because I am pinging to my same network here, right? But actually my destination is not 11 dot, my destination is 12 dot. 10 dot people want to access 12 dot. If I ping to 12 dot, I'm putting the continuous ping here, that is 12.0.2 space -t for continuous pinging. Okay, if you don't want to stop the pinging, you can keep like this, right? So once I press enter, now tell me, I will get any reply or not? No, because routers are there, connectivity is there, but still router is not configured. We have to configure. So that's why we're getting reply, request, timeout. So like this, if I go to the last machine, system 4, that is 12.2 machine, from here, from this machine, if I ping to my same network, that is 12.0.0.1, now tell me, I will get the reply or not here? I am sitting on 12.2 machine, I'm pinging to 12.1 to same network computer. I'm getting reply there. But 12 dot people want to access 10 dot network, destination is 10 dot. If I ping to 10.0.2 space -t, that is not capital T, small t, enter. Right now, we are getting any reply? No, we are not getting any reply. Why? Till now we not created the configure the routers here. Now to start the communication and connectivity, we require routers. So how to make these routers here? So to configure this machine as a routers, the microservice saying we require this service. That is what here? RRAS. First we have to configure. Then we have to enable this service. Remember here, two things. We have to install the service and we have to enable. Then after that we have to create static root table. Then only the communication will start. So first we have to install what here? RRAS service, routing and remote access service. But routing and remote access service, I have to install in how many machines? In all 4 machines? No. So please don't install this service in all 4 machines. We have to install this service only in router 1, that is system 2, and router 2, that is a system 3. So please write down our first lab today. Write on the first lab today, installing routing and remote access service. Today first lab is config. Please tell me what is the heading? Installing. You can say installing, you can say configuring routing and remote access service. Okay. Now we have to do the same thing. We have to install this service in router 1 and router 2. That is my system 2 and system 3. So write down in system 2 router 1. In system 2 router 1, login as administrator. In system 2 router 1, login as a administrator. Then next write down open the server manager console. Open the server manager console and click on add roles and features. Open the server manager console and click on add roles and features. open the server manager console and click on add roles and features. So once you click this one, add roles and features, the new window will open. So write down, click next 3 times. Next, next, next. Click on next. So we are sitting on system 2 machine. We have 2 interfaces here. Click next. We are in roles. Now to make router, the experts are saying, the Microsoft is saying, if you want to make this machine as a router, we have to install this service that is called remote access. So by using this remote access service, I can make one PC as a router. So write down, check the box remote access and click on add features. Check the box remote access and click on add features. But remember here, when I'm installing remote access service, automatically this service also will install. Which service here? Web server service, because the web server service is a supporting service to your remote access service here. So once I check the box remote access, click on add features. So it's saying here, sir, with this service also will install. Okay, so click on add features. So after that we have to click 3 times. Write down, click 3 times. Next, next, next. Click 3 times. Next, next, next. And check the box routing. Check the box routing. Check the box routing. Okay. Then write down again 3 times. Next, next, next. Install and close. After checking the box routing, click 3 times. Next, next, next. Install and close. So here we have to click on next. One more time next. One more time next. And we have to check the box routing to make this machine as a router and click on next, next. So with routing service, web service also is installed here. So click on next, click on install. It will take few minutes time here. We have to wait. Now the same service we have to configure in system 3 router 2 also. So please write down note there. Install the routing and remote access service. Install the routing and remote access service. Install the routing and remote access service. Install the routing and remote access service in system 3 router 2 also. Install the routing and remote access service in system 3 router 2 also. Okay, the same method and same procedure. Okay, you have to follow this one. So now here I'm going to my system 3 now here. That is my router 2. I have to open the server manager console, click on add roles and features and click on next, click next and click on next here. And you can say we have option here, that is what remote access. And to save the time, already have installed this service. You can say the boxes check, that is remote access services installed here. Okay, now after installation is done, we have to go for configuration. Like last class we discussed WDS service. Once installed Windows deployment service, so automatically is not going to configure. We have to configure manually there, right? So please write down our next lab. Our next lab, configuring and enabling routing and remote access service. Configuring and enabling routing and remote access service. So please write down the steps. In system to router 1, in system to router 1, open the RRAS service, open the routing and remote access service, open the routing and remote access service. Okay. Then write down, right click on system name SYS2. Right click on system name SYS2. Right click on system name SYS2. Then write down next line, click on configure and enable routing and remote access. Click on configure and enable. Click on configure and enable routing and remote access. Now once you click this option, configure and enable remote routing and remote access, one new page will open, welcome page. We have to click on next. So please write down, click next. Now once you click next, it's asking, sir, what you want to make now. I want to make this machine as a router. So to make this machine as a router, we have a last option that is called custom configuration. We have to select that one. So write down, select custom configuration. Select custom configuration and click next. Select custom configuration and click on next. Then write down next line, check the box LAN routing. Check the box LAN routing because you want to connect from one LAN to other LAN. Check the box LAN routing, click next and click on finish. Click next, click on finish. Now once you click finish, is asking the question there. Said you want to start this service or cancel this service. We have to click on start service. So write down, click on start service. Now once you click start service, this service successfully configured. So now this machine is acting as a router here. Okay, so this is the method and procedure to enable the and configure the routing and remote access service here. So I'm going to my system 2 server now. Yeah, still is going on, process going on, just we have to wait for a few minutes, then it will complete. Now you can see here, I'm getting a message, installation is what? Succeeded on system 2 machine. Click on close. Now if I go to the tools here, you can see here in my list, are you finding routing and remote access service here? Yes. Or if I go to the start button, if I go to the start, you can find here routing and remote access. So once you open this routing and remote access, now this service is running in which machine? In system 2, but service is not configured. We have to configure this service here. So we have to right click on this system name SYS2 and you can see we're getting the red color mark here. So we have to right click on system name SYS2 and click on configure enable routing and remote access. Now once you click this one, new window will open, welcome page. We have to click on next and we have to select what option. There are so many options are there. We have to select last one, custom configuration to make router, and click next. And we have the here in custom configuration, there are so many options are there. We have to select LAN routing. We have to check the box LAN routing because you want to make this router to connect from one LAN to other LAN. So click next and click on finish and click on start service. Now after the service is configured, are you finding green symbol here on system name? So means service is configured. If you drag, you can find so many options here. So routing services successfully configured. Now the same method, same procedure we have to follow and configure the routing and remote access service in my router 2. So please write down note there. Configure and enable routing and remote access service in system 3 router 2 also. Configure and enable routing and remote access service in system 2 router, in system 3 router 2 also. In system 3 router 2 also. Okay, the same method and same procedure we have to follow here. So please tell me the steps what I have to do. Right now I'm in router 2 here. So open the routing and remote access service. Okay, we are in system 3. Right click on system name SYS3 and click on configure enable routing and remote access service. We have to click on next, select custom configuration, next, check the box LAN routing, click next, click on finish, click on the start service. Now you can see here service is successfully configured. If you expand this option system 3, you can find so many options. Okay, now till now what we have done, we configure the routers by using RRAS service, we enable the service. But tell me, now 10 dot people, network people can access 12 dot network resources. 12 dot people can access 10 dot. Check communication is there or not. If I go to the 10.2 machine, that is my system 2, system 1, and you can see I'm sitting on 10.2 machine. My destination is 12.0.2, but I'm not getting reply from 12.2. If I go to my system 4 computer, that is 12.2 machine, I'm sitting on 12.2 machine. Destination is 10.0.2, but I'm not getting reply from 10.2, but I'm getting reply from 12.1 here. So it means the request going till 12.1 interface, but after the request is not forwarding here, right? To forward the request, right? To forward the request in our routers, we have to configure static route table. We have to configure what here? Static. By the help of static route table here, we can connect from one LAN to other LAN to establish the communication. So please write down our next lab, creating a static route table in router 1. Creating static route table in router 1. Creating static route table in router 1. So first we'll see the static route table, how to create in router 1, then it's easy to create the static route table in router 2 also there. So now we are sitting on 10 dot network in router 1. So first we'll create the static route table in router 1, then we'll create the static route table in router 2 also. So please write down. In system 2 router 1, open the RRAS service. In system 2 router 1, open the RRAS service, routing and remote access service. Okay, the write down, expand the IPv4, because we are using IPv4 to connect from one LAN to other LAN. So expand the IPv4. Now once we expand the IPv4, are you finding option static routes here? But if you observe here, if you go to the static routes, are you finding any entries here? No. So we have to configure this here. So right now, right click on static routes and click on new static route. Right click on static routes and click on new static route. Right click on static routes and click on new static route. Now observe here, once I click new static route, one new page will open and we have to fill these boxes. Try to understand first Then write it. First, what is asking? Interface, right? Next is asking destination. Destination means your destination, means 12 dot example. Then is asking network mask. Network mask means subnet marks here. So what is the destination subnet marks that we have to give? Okay. Then it's asking gateway. See here, default gateway is different, gateway is different. If anyone is asking, sir, what is default gateway? So give the answer. Our router private IP will become default gateway for our clients. That is a default gateway. But here is not asking default gateway, it's asking gateway. So here gateway in router in this page. Gateway means the next router exit and entry point interface address. Next router exit and entry point interface. That is called what here? Gateway. Now it's asking one more thing, that is called metric here. And here by default metric number is given what here? 256 here. So metric means here in different places, different areas, metric meaning is different. But here according to our today class, metric means hop. Metric means what here? Hop. And hop means stops between source and destination. And here the stops are called routers here. Okay. So means metric means here hop, and hop means what? Router here. So not only between 10 dot network and 12 dot network, how many routers we have? 2 routers. So like this we can use up to how many routers here? 256. We can use up to 256 to transfer the data there, right? So you can keep the number default, there is no problem there. Okay. So one by one we'll write it, but you can see in interface we have two options here. One is 10 dot and one is a 11 dot here, right? So write down. The first one is interface. But tell me in interface what I have to select here? 10.0.0.1 or 11.0.0.1? 10.0.0.1. Answer is wrong, sir. Here interface means your network exit and entry point. Your network exit and entry point. Example, my user is requesting for data share folder, is going to run, is typing double backslash 12.0.2/data. Once you press enter via switch, the request first will go to 10.1. Now tell me your request exit? No, the request will go to router, and from this interface, which interface? 11.1 is using public interface to exit your network, right? So the exit interface address will call interface, not exit. Your exit and entry you can say actually here. Now when the data is coming from outside to inside, from 12 dot to 10 dot network, the first data will reach to 11 dot, then data will come to 10 dot, 10 dot will to allow the user to access. So the entry exit point is what here? 11.1. Entry point also is what? 11.1. So our router public IP, you can think like this also. Our router public IP will become interface, or you can say our router exit and entry point will become interface here. So interface is what here? 11.0.0.1. Remember this one. Okay. Now next is what? Destination. So destination is what? 12 dot. The 10 dot people want to access 12 dot. 12.0.0.0. Don't give 1, don't give 2, don't give 5, don't give 10 here, because I want to allow the 10 dot people to access all 12 dot network computers. So we have to give the network ID. Network ID is what? 0 here. Now next, what is asking? Network mask. Network mask means what? Subnet marks. Destination is address is what? 12 dot. 12 dot is the class A. Class A subnet marks is what? 255.0.0.0. That is correct. Then is asking last one is what? Gateway. Now what is gateway here? Please tell me. First tell, then write it. I will give you the chance to copy them. 11.0.0. Yeah, 11.0.0.2 is the correct answer, because I am saying gateway is the next router. Your next router exit and entry point. Your next router exit. So when the data request went to the from 11.1, then data will reach to 12 dot. But when the data is coming 12 dot network, first is using what? 11.2. So the 12 dot network, the other network router exit and entry point. So other network router exit and entry point is what? 11.2. That one will become what here? Gateway. So we have to give gateways 11.0.0.2 here. Okay. Then metric, we no need to change the metric. Keep like this. Just click on OK. Your configuration is done. So please copy this one. Once you click OK, your configuration is done. Any class IP, sir. I'm using 11 dot here, but maybe in the real time your ISP is giving different classes IP. Sir, if you're connecting these two LANs, if you purchase the public IP, and this public IP we can use anywhere. So tell to ISP I require two public IPs, right? In same series. So it will give to one router and give to your next router. And you can use this public IP anywhere in the world that will allow for communication. It's done. Everyone, copy it. Now, please tell me here how to give this information. What I have to give? Select here. Interface 11.1 or 10.1? 11.1, right? That is correct. Then destination is 12.0.0.0. We are sitting on router 1 10. Network. Then network mask is 255.0.0.0 because destination address is a class A. Class A subnet mask is 255.0.0.0. Then gateway is the next router. Exit entry point or public IP, you can say that is 11.0.2, and keep that metric same, right? If you like, you can change also. Just click on OK. So once you click OK, your configuration is done. But the same static route table we have to configure in my router 2 also. So please write down our next lab. Creating static route table. Creating static route table. Creating static route table in system 3 router 2. Creating static route table in system 3 router 2. So please write down in system 3 router 2, open the RRAS service. Sorry, in system 3 router 2, open the RRAS service. Then write down expand the IPv4. Expand the IPv4. And you can see in the static routes, are you finding any entry here? No. So write down, right click on static routes and click on new static route. Right click on static routes and click on new static route. Now once you click this new static route, one new page will open. Right, once you click new static routes, one new page will open, and here is also the same thing here. One is interface, destination, network mask, gateway, and here in interface we have two interface 11.2 and 12.1. Now you have to tell to me, right now I'm sitting on which machine? Router 2. So we have to think from router 2. So now tell me, in router 2, what is the interface first? The router 2 exit and entry point, right? That is what? 11.0.2. So the interface is 11.0.0.2. Now tell me, that router 2 is working 12. Network, and 12. People want to access which network? 10. So destination is 10.0.0.0 network ID. Okay, because I want to allow 12. People to access all the computer of 10. Network. Now 10. Is a class A address. Class A address subnet mask is what? Network mask is 255.0.0.0. Okay. Now what is gateway? We are sitting on router 2. Router 2 is connected to router 1. Router 1 public IP is what? 11.1. So 11.0.1 is a gateway. The write down, click OK. Now creating static route table is too tough or is easy, sir? It's easy. Just you have to know what is our interface and what is your destination interface and what is a destination address here. We have to know what is the exit entry point of our router, what is the exit entry point of other network router, and what is the destination. Done. Now see here. So we have to select interfaces 11.0.2. Then destination is 10.0.0.0. Network mask subnet mask is 255.0.0.0. Then gateway is 11.0.0.1. The router 1 public IP. Right? Just click on OK. So once you click OK, now your routers are ready. Now you can go for verification here. Okay. So please write down verification. From system 1 10.2 computer, From system 1 10.2 computer ping to 12.0.0.2. From system 1 10.2 computer ping to 12.0.2. From system 1 10.2 computer ping to 12.0.0.2. Okay. Then next line write down. From system 4 12.2 computer. From system 4 12.2 computer ping to 10.0.0.2. Ping to 10.0.2 and check the reply. From system 4 12.2 computer ping to 12. From system 4 12.2 computer ping to 10.0.2 and check the reply. So you have to check the reply. Reply has to be come there. Okay. Now see here, already I keep the continuous ping. I will get the reply here. So I'm going to my system 1. That is system 1. Sorry. Yeah. We are in system 1 now, 10.2 computer. Now see here, destination is our 12.0.2. Earlier we are not getting reply, but now we are getting reply. Actually, we are sitting on 10.2 machine, but we are getting reply from 12.0.2. Means successfully routers are connected, connectivity is there, communication is there. Okay. Now like this, go to the last machine, 12.2 machine. That is system 4. So we are sitting on system 4 computer. That is 12.2 machine. Destination is 10.0.2. We are getting reply from 10.0.2 here, right? So routers are created, connectivity is there. Now communication also is there. Can we transfer the data? Yes, not only from system 1, that is 10.2 computer, can access 12.2 machine, share folders. Yes, can access, if you have some websites which is running on private IP, can I access website, can I access FTP site also? Yes, we can access. So please write down next verification. Next verification. Open the run, sorry, in system 1 10.2 computer, write down like this. In system 1 10.2 computer, open the run. In system 1 10.2 computer, open the run. Okay, and please write down this command from the board. /12.0.0.2 slash. If you have share folder, I want to access share folder. Right now I'm not having share folder on 12.2 machine. I want to access the drive. Can we access the drive? Yes, I want to access C drive. So we have to type what? C dollar, because we want to access the drive. C dollar and click OK. So whenever you want to access any drive, we have to use the dollar sign. Write down access the files. Click OK and access the files. So once you click OK, you can access the files here. Now see here, I'm going to my 10.2 computer, that is system 1. I'm opening the run here. Type here what? /12.0.0.2. Then one more /C dollar here. Now see here, once you click OK, now you can find the drive is open. But this drive, C drive, is a which computer drive? 12.2. Now if I create one folder here, example, I'm creating one folder by the name of XYZ. Now tell me, this folder, this file, this data is going to store in my computer in 12.2 machine. 12.2. How to confirm? Go to the 12.2 machine, that is a system 4. Open the computer, open the C drive, and you can see here. Are you finding the data is there? Now like this, 12.2 network computer users also can access 10.network data. Yes, you can access. So we have successfully connectivity and communication by using routers here. Okay. So this is the job of router, to connect from one LAN to other LAN to allow the user to access the resources here. But if you have permission, you can, when you're sharing, you can give the permission whether this user should access or not. When you're sharing, when you're applying security, then we can give it. Okay. Now, till now we have seen what is router, how to configure the static route table, how to establish the communication, right? Now come to the next topic that is very important for us, because when you're learning routing, the same time we have to learn this topic. Without learning this topic, you will not become, you can say you're not having good knowledge in routing, you can say. Okay, so please write down our next topic, that is called NAT. And NAT stands network address translation. And please copy this page, then we'll see what is the use of this NAT. It's done, finished. So the NAT is very important service here. The microservicing, by using NAT, we can translate the request from private to public and public to private. So the job of the NAT service is translating the request from private IP to public and public IP to private. But when we require NAT service, we are going to see this one. So example, right now, this is your organization network. You have 10 dot network and you have a 12 dot. First, try to understand what the microservice is saying, what the experts are saying. If you have two branches and you're connecting these two branches by using router, there is no requirement of NAT service here. Example, this is the two branches, 10 dot and 12 dot is your branch office. You're connecting these two LANs, 10 dot to 12 dot, 12 dot to 10 dot. So there is no requirement of NAT service. Just configure the routers, configure the static route table, and the 10 dot people can access 12 dot network and 12 dot people can access 10 dot. But when we require NAT service, when you're connecting the private network to public network. When you're connecting the private network to public, means public network means internet world. When you're connecting private network to public network, then we require NAT service. Remember here, when we require NAT service, when you're connecting private network to public internet world, then we require NAT service. So assume it this time 12 is not our branch office. 12 is a public network, is the internet world here, and 10 is our private network here. So assume it right now, my users are coming. The user is saying, sir, we need, right? The users are coming, we need internet line. And your boss also is saying, sir, please allow the user to access the internet line. Allow the user to access internet line. So then what we have to do now? We have to purchase the internet line. We have to purchase the internet line from ISP here, right? But here, according to this diagram here, we are not using the hardware router here. We are using what here? Software router. So we have to take the help of software router diagram here. Just 1 minute, please here. So to connect this network, how many routers we require here? 2. One is connected to this one. IP is 10.0.0.1. This IP is 11.0.0.1. And here we need one router. This interface IP is 12.1. And this interface IP is 11.0.0.2 and is connected via WAN here. And that is our system 2. We are making router 1. Okay. Now here. So estimate right now the system 2 is not our router here, is a normal machine here. So one day the boss is coming, is saying, sir, please allow the 10 people to access the internet, But tell me, in this 10 network, in all 100 machines, we are using public IP or private IP? We are using the private IP. We are not using public IP address here. Okay. So now tell me, by using private IP address, can you access Yahoo server? Can you access Gmail server? Can you access any internet world servers? No, we cannot access. We cannot connect to the public network, right? Because this IP is a private IP address. Okay. Now, my boss is saying, sir, please allow the user to access internet. So what I am doing, right? To allow the user to access internet, I have to go to the ISP. I have to tell to the ISP, to internet service provider, give the internet line. And I want internet line with broadband connection. I want internet line with full speed. I want internet line with public IP. What internet line we are using for in our home, that is only for browsing purpose, to access the mails. And we are not paying that much amount. We are paying only 500 rupees or 600 rupees to access the internet here. That is a normal internet line. But here we require dedicated internet line with broadband connection, with full speed, with the public IP. So it means one internet line costing me with one public IP nearly 10,000 rupees here, right? So assume it ISP is giving one internet line to me. I am taking this internet line, and how many internet line I have to purchase? 1 or 100? Only one is enough. Okay, good. Take one internet line and give this internet line to your system 2 machine. Right now this machine is not router, is a normal machine. Give to this machine, and the public IP ISP has given, that is 11.0.0.1. So now internet line is available in your organization. Now the user is coming, is asking, sir, we want to access internet. And how many user is coming? 100 users. So is he saying, sir, we want to access internet. So tell me that which computer we have to use to access internet. So we have to say what? Sir, go to any machine, access internet. No, internet line is available on in system 2. So tell to that user, sir, go to the system 2, log in there and access internet. So the first user is coming, is going to the system 2, logging, accessing internet. Okay, done. But when the one user is working, so user 1 is working, so what the other user has to do now to access internet? Wait in the queue, because when the turn is coming, then you can. So when the first user is done the job, because internet line is available in system 2 only, right? So when the first user is completed the job on internet, the next user is logging to the system 2, accessing internet. When next user is completed the job, the third user is logging access. So like this, one by one. But next day, your all 100 employees are coming, is requesting to you, sir, thank you for providing internet, but we are facing the problem, sir. The users are saying, sir, we are wasting our time, sir, because internet line is not available on our machine. Internet line is available on system 2. So all the user has to come to system 2 to access internet. But when the first user is working, the other user are waiting in the queue, sir. So we want access. We want to access internet by sitting on our computer, and at a time, all 100 users want to access internet. And your manager, your boss also is requesting, sir, please allow all the 100 users to access internet by sitting on their own computers. So now how to give internet line? Now go to again to ISP. Tell to ISP, sir, I want internet line in all 100 computers. So tell to ISP, I want 100 internet lines, 100 public IP, because I want to allow the user to access internet by sitting on Any machine. So we have to purchase how many internet lines now? 100 with 100 public IPs. Okay. So ISP will give. Yes, it will give, because job of ISP is what? Giving the internet line to us. Okay. So ISP is saying, okay, sir, today is my sale is very good, right? At a time, one person is purchasing 100 internet lines with 100 public IP, and take the 100 internet lines and give to one machine, and give one public IP to one computer, and allow the user to access internet. Can we allow or not? Yes. So now tell to the users that logging to any machine by sitting on their own computer, you can access internet. Internet is available on 100 computers. Okay. We are serving the service. We are giving the best service. But at the same time, what we are wasting here? We are wasting money first, right? Because we have to pay 100 internet line fees we have to pay, or you have to pay the charges here. So lakhs of rupees per month we have to pay or not here. And second thing, we are wasting public IPs over the internet. We are wasting public IPs. Two things we are wasting: public IPs, and we are wasting the bandwidth also. We are wasting the internet line also. So your boss is saying, sir, please save this one, right? Reduce the cost, reduce the internet line, but allow the user to access. So then microservice saying, sir, if you want to save the internet line, save the public IP, but you want to allow at a time to all 100 users to access internet by sitting on their computer. So we have to use the NAT service. We have to use what here? NAT service. So by using NAT service, what we can do? We can allow the private user to connect to the public network to access the resources here. But how to use the NAT service? So first we have to make one system as a router. So I'm going to the system 2, I'm making this machine as a router, right? And on router we have private interface 10.1 and we have public interface 11.1. So on this public interface, we have to configure first NAT service. On which interface? On public interface, remember here. And the first work of the job of the NAT is what? Translating the request from private to public and public to private to allow the user to access the internet. So job of the NAT is what? Now your users 10.5, 10.6 user by sitting on this, by using this private IP can access the internet or not here? Yes. So the job of the NAT is what? Translating the private request to public and public to private, and to allow the private user to access internet there. Okay. So if anyone is asking interview, sir, what is the work of NAT? So give the answer. Sir, NAT job is what? Translating the request from private to public, public to private, and allow the user to access the internet here, right? But the person is, okay, after listening this one, the person is saying, sir, I don't know what is private to public, sir, and public to private. So please explain this one. So to understand what is private to public and public to private, you have to take two things. One is source and one is destination. Here source is computer 5, system 5, that is 10.5. So this 10.5 machine, now tell me 10.5 is a private IP or public IP? Private IP. And this 10.5 user want to access Yahoo server, want to access Yahoo, Microsoft, maybe Gmail. Now tell me, this Yahoo, Microsoft, Gmail is a private service or public service? Public. By using private IP, can you access this service? No, it will not allow to you. So what happening in the background here? So by sitting on this 10.5 machine, the user is typing www.yahoo.com. So once you press enter the first request via switch, the request will go to your router on this interface. To which interface? 10.1. Then 10.1 interface will forward the request to router. Now request is reaching to router by using 10.1. Now in router, one service is working. That is what? NAT. So NAT will stop your request. The NAT is stopping your request. NAT will say, just wait, sir. You cannot send the request outside because using private IP. So what the NAT is doing? The NAT is taking your request and is giving this request to public IP. What is the public IP here? 11.0.0.1. The NAT is requesting to 11.1, right? Is requesting to 11.1 to send the request to Yahoo. So 11.1 is a public IP, is sending the request to Yahoo server to access. So now tell me, the request is coming to public server Yahoo by using private IP or by public IP? Public. So now tell me, the Yahoo server, Gmail server, Microsoft server will give the response or not? Yes, the request is coming from Yahoo to your public IP. And here the NAT is waiting for this request. So what the NAT will do, it will take this request from public IP, it will send the request to private IP, and by using this private IP, now my user can access Yahoo server or not? So this is one example. Like this, now 10.5 user, by using private IP, can we access any server of internet or not here? We can access any internet server, we can access, right? We can access any public server. But actual background, what happening here? You can observe here, the request is going from private to public and public to private. Who is doing this one? NAT. So the NAT job is what? Translating the request from private to public, public to private, allow the user to access the internet, right? So now tell me, at a time, all these 100 users, by using this single public IP, by using this internet line, can access the internet or not here? But don't worry about the bandwidth here. Your bandwidth is not limited. Your bandwidth is unlimited. You can allow the user to access internet with full speed here. Okay. So here, so what is the job of NAT here? Translating the private request to public and public to private to allow the user to access internet. Now the second job of the NAT is what? Is acting as a firewall server here. Is acting as a firewall. Now what is the job of firewall service? Restrict to others. Example, we have two systems, system 1 and system 2, and the system 1, system 2 both are connected to each other, right? Connectivity is there, communication is there. System 1 can access system 2 data and system 2 can access system 1 data, right? Now next day what I have done, I enable the firewall service in system 1, enable this firewall service in system 1. Now system 1 having connectivity communication with system 2, and system 2 also is having connectivity communication with system 1. But now system 1 can access system 2 data, but system 2 cannot access system 1 data, because in system 1 what we have enabled? Firewall service. The same thing, once you configure the NAT, your 10 dot network is protected. 10 dot network is what here? Protected. Now 10 dot people can access 12 dot network. Not only 12 dot, I am having 12 dot only here, but you can access any network. You can access any network, 10 dot, 12 dot, 13 dot, 15 dot, Yahoo, Microsoft, Gmail, any network, right? But over the internet, the unknown people cannot enter your network. Means 12 dot people cannot access 10 dot network. So maybe known, maybe unknown, maybe hackers cannot come inside your network, because over the internet now your 10 dot network is hidden, is protected here by using what here? NAT service. So NAT is allowing the 10 dot people to access 12 dot network, but 12 dot people cannot access 10 dot network. So it means private people can access public network, but public user cannot access private. Public user means maybe known, maybe unknown, maybe hackers. That user cannot come inside, cannot access your private network resources. So this is the job of NAT service. But where we have to configure NAT service? In our router, not in other network router. In our router, we have to configure the NAT service. So this time, assume 12 dot network is a public network here, right? And 10 dot is a private. And in NAT service, we have to configure in router 1. Then we'll see this verification. Okay. So in the lab, we are not having internet world. Assume 12 dot is a public network, so we have to configure the NAT service in router 1. And please don't configure the NAT service in both routers here. The communication will stop there. So please write down our next lab, configuring NAT service in router 1. Configuring NAT service in router 1. So please write down. Now see here, before going routing, my 12 dot people can access 10 dot network or not here? Yes. So please write down in system 2, router 1. In system 2, router 1, open the RRAS service. In system 2, router 1, open the RRAS service. In system 2, router 1, open the RRAS service. Then write down, expand the IPv4. Expand the IPv4. Now see here, once you expand the IPv4, are you finding any service name NAT here? No, NAT is not there. We can add these services by using this journal option. So write down, right click on journal and click on new routing protocol. Right click on journal and click on new routing protocol. Now once you click this new routing protocol, one new page will open, and in this page is asking, sir, what service you require. Select and click OK. We require NAT service. So write down select NAT and click on OK. Select NAT and click OK. So once you click OK, in the list you can see the NAT service is added. But if you go to the NAT service, are you finding any entry, any interfaces here? No. So we have to add two interfaces. One is private and one is a public. And on public, we want NAT service, right? So please write down, right click on NAT and click on new interface. Right click on NAT and click on new interface. Right click on NAT and click on new interface. So once you click this new interface, one new page will open, and first we have to select 10 dot network. So write down, select 10 dot interface Select 10.0.1 interface. Select 10.0.0.10.0.0.1 interface and click OK. Now once you click OK here, is asking inside this is a private interface or public. You have to select. So now tell me 10 dot is a private or public? It's a private. So write down select private interface and click OK. Select private interface and click on OK. Now once you click OK, you can see 10 dot interface is added. Then write down next line, again right click on NAT and click on new interface. Again right click on NAT, click on new interface. Then write down select 11.0.0.1 interface. Select 11.0.0.1 interface. Click on OK. Select 11.0.0.1 interface and click on OK. Select 11.0.0.1 interface and click on OK. Now tell me, once you click OK, is asking, said this is a private or public? Which one? Is a public. So write down select public interface. Select public interface and check the box enable NAT on this interface. And check the box. We have to check this box also. Enable NAT on this interface. Check the box enable NAT on this interface and click on OK. Now once you click OK, your job has successfully done. Your NAT service is configured. The write down verification. So write down verification. In system 1 10.2 computer. In system 1 10.2 computer ping 2. In system 1 10.2 computer ping 2 12.0.0.2 and check the reply. Ping to 12.0.0.2 and check the reply. But right now I have 12 dot network only, so I'm pinging to 12 dot network. But in the real time, the answer is what here? Verification is what? Ping to any network and you will get the reply there. You have to check. But tell me, if I ping from 12 dot to 10 dot, I will get any reply? No, because here in 10 dot network, in router 1, we configure the NAT. NAT will not allow to 12 dot people to access 10 dot network. So you can see here, I'm going to my 10.2 machine. I put the continuous ping to 12.0.2. I'm getting the reply from 12.2. So it means NAT is working here. 10 dot people can access 12 dot. But tell me 12 dot people can access 10 dot? No. If I go to the system 4, that is 12.2 machine, and from here I'm sitting on 12.2 machine. If I'm pinging to 10.0.2, earlier I'm getting reply here. But now here, I'm getting any reply here? No, I'm getting what here? Request timeout, because my NAT service is configured in the router 1 here. So 10 dot people can access 12 dot, but 12 dot people cannot access 10 dot network. NAT is acting as a firewall. Okay. But please do one thing. After the configuration is done, verification is done, remove the NAT service, because we want to go for the next topic there. So please write down note. Write down the note. Remove the NAT service. Remove the NAT service from router 1 system 2. Remove the NAT service from router 1 system 2. Okay. Now how to remove the NAT service is very simple, very easy here. Just go to the router 1, that is my system 2, right click on NAT and click on delete and say yes. Once you say yes, the NAT is successfully removed. So now tell me, the now 12 dot people can access 10 dot network? Yes, now we have a reply here. We are getting the reply because NAT has removed them. Now come to the next topic, write down the heading. Our next lab, DHCP relay agent. DHCP relay agent. Now here agent work is passing the request from one person to another person, and relay means sending the request, right? DHCP, what is the job of DHCP server or DHCP service? To assign automatic dynamic IP to our network computers or not here. So assume you are the admin of this network and you have two branches, one is 10 dot and one is 12 dot, and you connected these two branches via routers. Now tell me, we require any NAT service here? No, because we are connecting from one branch to other branch. So there is no requirement of NAT service. Now tell me, the 10 dot people can access 12 dot network? Yes. And 12 dot people can access 10 dot network resources? Yes. But as you are the admin, you are managing all these two branches here. Okay, you're managing these two branches. But one day these users, this 10 dot users are coming is saying, sir, we don't want static IP on our machine, sir. We don't want static IP, we want dynamic IP. We require dynamic. So your requirement is dynamic IP. So how to assign the dynamic IP to clients here? We have to configure DHCP server, and already we know how to configure the service, how to create the scope also. So in 10.2 machine, I'm creating DHCP service. I'm making this machine as a DHCP server. But in DHCP server, we require scope or not here. So I'm creating the scope 1, and the range I'm starting from 10.0.0.1 to 10.0.0.255. Okay. Now, whenever this client, who has to request first? The client has to request to DHCP server. Then DHCP server will assign one dynamic IP to this client or not here? Yes. So this DHCP server is serving the IP to this 10 dot network clients here. That is good. But after some time, assume it your 12 dot network users are coming. The 12 dot network user is saying, sir, on our machines, we don't want static IP, sir. On our machines, we require dynamic IP address, right? So these users are coming, this user requesting, sir, on our machine, on our NAC cards, we require dynamic IP address. So now tell me, to this client, how to assign the dynamic IP? We require DHCP server. So same process means what? What you're saying? You're saying, sir, go to the create the DHCP server. You're saying where we have to create DHCP server? In 12 dot network, because the 12 dot client want dynamic IP. So as administrator, go to this 12 dot network and configure one DHCP server and create the scope, right? Scope 2, and give the start IP 12.0.0.5 to 12.0.100. Okay. So now tell me, this DHCP server will assign the IP to this network clients or not here? So whenever the clients are generating the broadcast request for IP, so the DHCP server will assign the IP to this clients or not here? Yes. But tell me, you are the admin, you are configuring DHCP server, your job is easy. But tell me, before configuring any server, any service, we have to take the permission of your management or not here? We have to explain to management. Or you will configure with your own any service anytime? No, you are the employee, you are the admin, you have right to configure anything, but you have to request to management and tell to the management, I'm going to design this server, please give me the permission. The management will give the permission, then you can configure. So tell to management, sir, we have two network, 10 dot and 12 dot, I'm managing as an admin, and we have routers also connected, and 10 dot people can access 12 dot network, 12 dot people can access 10 dot network. But in 10 dot network, we have DHCP server with scope, and this DHCP server assigning the IP to 10 dot network. But the 12 dot people want dynamic IP, so that's why I'm planning for one DHCP server. If I give the permission DHCP server, I will create the scope. Then this DHCP server will assign the IP to this 12 dot network client computers. If your management is saying yes, your job is so easy, sir. But this time your management is saying no. Your management is saying, sir, please do one thing, sir. Don't configure the DHCP server in 12 dot network. Your management is not giving the permission, because your management is saying, sir, you're saying already these networks are connected to each other, 10 dot and 12 dot. In 10 dot network, already we have one DHCP server or not here? So your management is saying, don't waste the service, don't waste the server. So already in 10 dot network, 10.2 machine, we have DHCP server. So please do one thing, go to this DHCP server and create one more scope. Example, scope 2, and give the range from to 12 dot network, 12.0.0.5. I'm starting with 5 here. I'm leaving 1, 2, 3, 4, and give the end address 12.0.0.100. Now tell to this DHCP server, assign the IP to 12 dot network clients, and tell to this 12 dot network clients, if you need IP, you have to take the IP from 10.2 DHCP server, and this 10 dot network and 12 dot network are connected via routers here. So now tell me, now your DHCP server is running in which network? In our network, in other network here, in other network. So the 12 dot network clients want dynamic IP from other network, DHCP server. So my question is what? The first DHCP server will offer the IP to client, or client has to request? First client. So this client, 12 dot network client, is requesting for IP. So once you start the machine, there is no IP. So automatically your client will generate this request. Please 1 minute here. So right now these clients are not having static IP. These clients are require dynamic IP. So right now on this client machine, there is no IP address. So whenever the client is not having IP, your NAC card will start the broadcast request for IP address or not here. So NAC card is requesting for broadcast request for IP. So now tell me the request will go to how many machines now here? The request will go to all these 50 machines. But this 50, any machine acting as a DHCP server here? No. The same time from this client, the request will go to a router via this interface. Which interface? 12.1. Then router, what the router 2 has to do? Router 2 has to forward the request to router 1, and router 1 will forward the request to 10.2 DHCP server. And from the second scope, the first most free IP is 12.5 is free. So DHCP server will give this IP to router 1 to router 2, router 2 to client, and successfully IP is no sir, IP is not going to assign here, right? See here, the problem is what here? The client is generating the request for what? For IP, and this request is what here? Broadcast request. The first request going to router. Now tell me, what is my router? A router is a which device? Router is understanding which packets. On the first day of MCSC class, I say that we have 3 types of transmission of data packet: broadcast, unicast, multicast. Now our NAC card, our hub is a broadcast device. Our switch is a unicast, but our router is a multicast device. The router can understand only multicast packet. But tell me, to router, my client is sending what packet here? Broadcast. So what the router will do? It will drop the packet. It will say, sorry sir, what you are requesting, I can't understand this language. Multicast language I can understand, but not broadcast. So who is stopping your request? Who is dropping your packet? Router 2, right? So now that if the packet is dropped here, so router 2 will forward the request to DHCP server, other network DHCP server, to get the IP? No. So to boost up this request, to send this request to 10.2 DHCP server, to other network DHCP server, in our router, we have to configure this service. What service here? DHCP Relay. So what is the work of DHCP Relay service? By the help of DHCP Relay service, we can request to other network router. Sorry, we can by the help of DHCP Relay service, we can request to other network DHCP server to get one dynamic IP address. Right now, DHCP server is not in our network. Via our router, we want dynamic IP from other network DHCP server. So in our router, we have to configure DHCP Relay service. But when once you configure the DHCP Relay service, we have to give some entries. Now tell me, all these 50 clients which is running in 12 network is requesting for dynamic IP. To which interface first? To router. Which interface? 12. So tell to the router, right, sir, all the clients are requesting to this interface to get the dynamic IP. Okay, but this router has to forward the request to DHCP server. DHCP server is running on 10.2. So tell to the router, our router, sir, DHCP server is running on this IP, that is 10.0.0.2. Now by using this information, my router 2 will not drop the packet. Router 2 will forward the request to router 1, and router 1 will forward the request to DHCP server. And from the second scope, 12. Scope, the DHCP server will assign the give one IP to router 1 to router 2, router 2 to client, and now the successfully IP is assigned to this client here. So by the help of DHCP Relay service, we can request to other network DHCP server to get one IP address here. Okay, so for this configuration, that's why I say that remove the NAT service. Now tell me, if the NAT service is there, that broadcast request packet, right, or dynamic for static for dynamic IP, the request packet will come to inside the router 1 or in 10. Network? No. So that's why I say that before going for this lab, we have to remove the NAT service. Right? NAT will not allow 12. Network to come to inside the 10. Network then. Okay. So we'll go for this configuration, but tell me, DHCP Relay configuration, we have to do in router 1 or router 2? Router 2, because router 2 client need IP address, so we have to configure this service in router 2. But first we require DHCP server or not here? And where we have to create DHCP server? In system 1, that is a 10.2 computer. Okay, so please write down our lab steps. In system 1 10.2 computer, in system 1 10.2 computer, install the DHCP service. Already we know how to install this service and how to promote also this one. Install the DHCP service. The write down, next line, create the scope to, create the scope to, create the scope to, start IP address 12.0.0.5, start IP address 12.0.5, end IP address 12.0.0.100. Okay, the next line write down router default gateway address next line router default gateway address, because when you're creating the scope in one place, try to understand this one, remember this one, when you're creating the scope in one place is asking, sir, what is your router default gateway address? Now tell me, this time we are assigning the IP to 10.network users or 12.network users? 12. So now tell me, what is 12. Default gateway? 12.0.0.1 is a default gateway, so that we have to type that. So please write down router default gateway address dash 12.0.0.1 12.0.1. Okay, the write down next line complete the scope, and already we know how to complete the scope, how to create the scope, but this information start IP, end IP, default gateway is important here. But remember here we require DHCP service in which machine? In 10.2 machine, system 1. But please, in the lab, if you found DHCP service there in system 2, in system 3, in system 4, please remove it, otherwise you will not get the output there, right? We require DHCP service in system 1 10.2 machine, not in other machines here. Okay, so first I will complete this one. So I am going to my system 1 computer, that is my 10.2 machine. I have to log in as the administrator. I have to go to server manager console by using add-ons and features, add the DHCP service, and promote the service by using flag. And you can see already, to save the time, I have DHCP service and already promoted. But in this DHCP service, we require scope or not here? So open the DHCP service and create the scope here. So this DHCP service in system 1 in zoom.com domain, expand the name, expand the IPv4, right click on, see here, in IPv4 already we have one scope for 10.network. Don't remove this, because this scope is giving IP to 10. Clients here. So we require right click on IPv4 and click on new scope option, click on new scope, click on next, and give the scope name. I'm giving the scope name is 2, then click next and start IP 12.0.5. I'm starting with 5, 1, 2, 3, I'm leaving, and end IP address is 10.12.0.0.100 and click next. And we no need to exclude any IP, because 1, 2, 3, 4 we are not using, we're starting from 5 here. So click next, use duration is 8 days, click next. Yes, with IP I want to give other addresses also, click next, and is asking the router default gateway address. So 12. Router private interface IP is 12.0.1, click on add this one, right? And this IP will become default gateway for our clients. Click next. Yeah, domain name is zoom.com, that is okay here. Click on next. We are not having any Win server, right? Click next and select yes. Active the scope now, click next and finish. So you can see scope is created and there is no blue symbol. Otherwise you can refresh also, it will remove. Now scope 2 is ready, but observe here, scope 2 address pool is what? 12.5 to 12.100. If any client is taking IP, that will show you in address this here. Right now no one has requested. So DHCP server is ready. Next what we have to do? We have to go to the router 2 and we have to configure this service. Which service? DHCP relay with these 2 entries. So please write down in system 3 router 2, 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 open the RRAS service. In system 3 router 2, open the RRAS service. Then write down expand the IPv4, expand the IPv4, right click on journal, click on new routing protocol, right click on journal and click on new routing protocol, right click on journal and click on new routing protocol. Now once you click new routing protocol, is asking, sir, which protocol you require today? Now we require DHCP relay agent. So write down select DHCP relay agent and click OK. Select DHCP relay agent and click on OK. So once you click OK, DHCP relay agent service will add in the list. Is there? But in DHCP relay agent, are you finding any interface entry? No, we have to configure. So write down next line, right click on DHCP relay agent, Right click on DHCP relay agent and click on new interface. Right click on DHCP relay agent and click on new interface. So once you click this new interface, one new page will open, and in this page is asking, sir, which interface you want to add. So now tell me, who is requesting for dynamic IP? 12.client. So we have to select what here? 12.0.0.1. So write down, select 12.0.0.1 interface. Select 12.0.0.1 interface and click OK, OK. And please don't add now 11.2 interface. Only we have to add only one interface, that is a 12.1. So click on OK and click on OK. Your job has done. But we have to add the DHCP server address here or not here. So write down next line. Again, right click on DHCP relay agent. Again, right click on DHCP relay agent and click on properties. Again, right click on DHCP relay agent and click on properties. Now, once you click this properties here, one new page will open. Once you click on this property, one new page will open. The write down is asking what? Is asking DHCP server address. So write down, type the DHCP server address. Type the DHCP server address 10.0.0.2 and click on add. Type the DHCP server address 10.0.2 and click on add and click on OK. Now once you click add, successfully is added and click on OK. Click on add and click on OK. So once you click OK, your job has done. Now verification. So verification from which machine? From system 4. Okay. So please write down, in system 4 computer, log in as a administrator. In system 4 computer, log in as a administrator. In system 4 computer, log in as a administrator. Next, write down, first remove the static IP address. First remove the static IP address. Remove the static IP address and select obtain an IP address automatic. Select obtain an IP address automatic and select obtain DNS server address automatic. Select obtain an IP address automatic and select obtain DNS server address automatic and click OK and close. Click OK and click on close. Right? So first, if you have static IP, we have to remove it. Okay. So I'm going to my system 4 now. This is my system 4 computer, that is 12.2 machine. I'll log as administrator here. Right click on network icon, click on properties, click on change adapter settings, right click on Ethernet, click on properties, select IPv4, click on properties. And here we have to select what? Obtain an IP address automatic and obtain DNS also what here? Automatic. And click on OK and click on close. Then write down next one. Open the command prompt. Open the command prompt and type our two commands to request to DHCP server to get IP. So please tell me what is the commands? Yeah, that is okay. So write down. Open the command prompt and type ipconfig space / release. Enter. ipconfig space / release. Release means requesting for IP. Okay. Now there's no IP. Then write down next command, ipconfig space / renew. ipconfig space / renew. Then write down next line, check the dynamic IP address. Check the dynamic IP address 12.0.0.5. Because in the DHCP server, 12.5 is a first free IP address in the list. Check the dynamic IP address 12.0.0.5. Okay. So this is your verification. So once I press enter here, the request is going to my DHCP server via router to Now here, my DHCP server assigned the IP, and the IP is what here? 12.0.0.5, and default gateway is what here? 12.1. But if you want to know more details here, you can type here ipconfig space / all, and you can check the details here. So this IP is coming from 12. And this IP is dynamic 12.5, and DHCP server is default gateway is 12.1. DHCP server is running on 10.2, and DNS server address is what? 10.2 there, right? And this information is available in DHCP server also. Yes, if you go to the DHCP server in address list, if you refresh, you can see my system 4 is taking the IP from DHCP server, that is 12.0.5, right? So this we have to check. Okay. So today we have seen routing class. We've seen how to configure the router, right? And by the help of router, how to connect from one LAN to the LAN to establish the connectivity and communication. So you have to check routing. And in the lab, how many machines we require? 4 machines. And please, in the lab, we are not having more setups there. We have nearly 3 or 4 setups are there. So join with your friends and do the practical. Make a group and do the practical. If you're not getting systems, just wait for 10-15 minutes. Then you can get the system. You can do the practical once again. And one more thing here, I already requested say that regarding the exam, MCSC exam here, right? So if you want to complete the exam MCSC, you have to write 5 papers, or if you're not writing 5 papers, at least you have to go for 3 papers. But if any student is saying, sir, I can't write 3 papers here because I'm not having enough money, so please do one thing, at least write 1 paper there. Why? Because if you write 1 paper, then Microsoft will give